Good morning. I I was like, I need to play a game. I need to stream. I need to get something out there. So I've got a game. I just ran upstairs to get a drink. I got myself a nice. Oh, it's kind of cold. Sprite. Ah, yes. I saw Ethan Crank Gameplays TikTok, and they had a Sprite, and I was like, I want right now. So, yeah. Sorry for the drinking sounds. Oh. But I wanted to play Stanley Parable because that is like the one game I barely remember. It might come back to me because like I want to play a game where I get genuine reactions. And most games I want to play, either I know way too much about or I don't want to play it. Fuck. Right? 140? Yep. So Stanley Parable, I played very little. I watched Matt Pat's stream. Hey, can I say something? Before we get started, can I just say something? Thank you for actually setting the clocks both times you booted up the game. I almost played the game and I was like, wait, I can stream it. A lot of people don't, a lot of people don't take that step seriously. They just leave the clock set at 12 and call it a day. But you're actually taking the time to set up the clock and I appreciate that. That's how I know you care about this experience. You're paying attention. I don't even have a way of knowing if the times you're setting are correct. Tell you what, I'll make you a deal. Since you've been so cooperative, next time you boot up the game and see this screen, just set the clock to your favorite time. Go ahead, pick whichever time you want. Even if it's not correct, even if it's not the correct time, you've earned it. Alright, alright, back to the video game now. No, but like I was saying, what was I saying? Um, I wanted to play a game that I had not remembered. All I did was watch GT Live play it. I miss GT Live with Steph. That was so much fun. Um, in their fucking house with what's their cat's name? Skip, something like that. Cap Hat. I don't remember. But I really don't know a lot about this game. Oh, it's the Ultra Deluxe. There's more to it now. Move my Stream Deck back so I can move my keyboard so I got more mouse space. I have no space on my desk. If you saw how messy it was, you would die. Well, let's just begin. It looks like a fucking coom cave. The end is never the end.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order.
Holy
This
shit.
is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Good for him.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget.
Okay.
He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions.
His door's open.
Call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But
then
as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Welcome back. Get your first achievement. Can you see that? No, you can't. I opened the achievements thing. Oh, Jesus Christ, what was that?
All of his co-workers were gone.
Why did my mouse do that?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh, it's a printer.
No
For
matter
what?
how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Sure did.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Okay. Haha. I don't know why I'm not reading this shit out loud, but I was looking at the achievement lists, for the original Stanley Parable, and the achievements are just so outlandish. I don't know how I'm gonna get them. One of them is play the Stanley Parable for the entirety of Tuesday, which is so weird. Like, sure, I'll do a, 24-hour stream on Tuesday. Maybe in the summer I will do a 24-hour stream of just the Stanley Parable. We'll play it over and over and over again. And that would be, excuse me, awful. But I'm willing to do it. I'll bring friends on, we'll stop and watch videos and stuff. Maybe I'll have webcam set up or PNG tuber. Broom closet.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
No. Broom closet. Yeah, but I could play it for the entirety of Tuesday.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
There isn't no reason. But I'm gonna stay in here.
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
Dude, sweet fuck all. Fucking Christ. I need to stop coughing.
Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
Because it's just so calming. For some reason, this light is making such a loud humming noise for
You do realize
nothing.
there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever.
It's significant to
I
me.
never would have thought to mention it.
When you click, it makes a keyboard sound.
Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path.
What the fuck is it?
Maybe
You can't
when you go
jump
talk
achievement.
about this with your friend, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favourite." I hope your friends find this concerning.
I got a no jump achievement.
Stanley was fat and ugly and really
Holy
stupid. He
shit!
probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he
Oh
is.
my
Rather than
god!
drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
That's so funny. Why the fuck did he say that? So mean.
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead.
Brain dead.
You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. They have fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species.
How does he
Please
say these
remove
words?
their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
Wait.
Ah, second player. It's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do any worse than the
Wait
person
for
who
it,
came
wait for it.
before you. You too. Unbelievable. I'm at the mercy of an entire species of invalids. Perhaps there's a monkey nearby you can hand the controls to. A fish? Fungus? Look, you can hammer out the details. I'm not particularly picky. I'll just be waiting for when you're ready to pick up the story again.
Yeah, okay. I think that's it. I think it's it for the broom closet.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Okay. What the fuck? I've got the feeling money's for stealing, but not yours, of course. So that's a lovely purse. Extreme bathrooms. You could never open the bathroom because I was playing the original one for funsies. Like barely. I played like if you follow all the directions on, which I'm doing right now. But you can never open the bathroom. Take a seat. Wait. POV me typing. You really? It doesn't. You can't click on that keyboard.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
Straight up.
Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could
The
not have
most
known
expensive
was that the
boss.
keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
What? Knowing that it was 2845.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input
What the
the
fuck?
correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
It's really dark. Hey, is it brighter on your screen? It is. You can see what's over there. Nothing. But still, whatever. Down we go. That's an up button. Why could you keep pressing it?
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
What the fuck?
Stanley walked straight ahead through
Why
the
did
large
my
door
camera
that
do
read
that?
Mind Control Facility.
Escape.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What
There it is.
horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. I want to know. I want to know. Wouldn't be in there, but okay.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building.
Hey, there's my
Stanley's
office right in front of me.
co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom
See, where is
meant
it?
nothing.
427. I think that's my number. Let's call the lift.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been
What the
under
fuck?
someone's control all this time?
What
Was
the
this the only
fuck?
reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Where am I? Oh, there I am.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
What year is this? Because look at those things. But like, why are these computers still like ancient? Hello. Why are these computers still ancient? Well, they're still got like functioning compute, like at home PC kind of things. Mind control input. Oh. Ah. Oh. Hello.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had
Very
defeated
shaky.
the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away.
Yes. Let's
Even
go.
as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved.
Yeah, like there's
Where
an
had
escape
his
sign back there.
co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the
So is this not a
machine's
true
grasp?
escape?
What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But
Am I
as
still
sunlight
trapped?
streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all
We're
he
in
needed to know.
Scotland now.
It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path
The feeling of
before him.
liberals.
This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley
Let's go.
was happy.
Tell me how it feels. Let me know. Beat the game. Technically, I got the achievement. Yet here we are again. Wait. The clock is not even set to the right time. I set the time.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could
Yeah.
it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I think I'll pass. I don't need to go to the meeting room.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Oh yeah, I did.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
For sure. Look at this.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring.
$1.25.
It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply
Yes.
stood here, drinking it all in.
Oh yeah. Who farted?
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room.
Oh yeah, coffee
A room
nut.
so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth
Wow, we're
it.
looking at the mug. Fuel. Hey, you didn't even mention the yes.
At this point,
Beautiful.
Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
Ouch. Let's go.
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Except I did my job perfectly, bitch.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
Yeah.
I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about.
Nope.
What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you?
Yes!
I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Okay.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time?
But you really haven't
The
shown
problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And
Yeah.
I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Okay.
What do we want? What are we looking for?
What?
Here. Yes.
Whoa!
Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
Well. Ooh, more color things. Whoa. Are they spawning where I'm looking? I can still. Just give me a second. I gotta finish my essay. Green. Okay. Anyways.
No, wait. Where are you going?
It's over. We've experienced it.
Oh no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this. Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me.
This is so sad.
Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing.
Holy shit.
No! Oh, thank God. You lived. You had me worried there for a moment. Now, can we please get back? No. No, no, what are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't
so
go back to where I
bad.
was before.
I'm sorry.
If you die,
I'm
we'll
sorry.
both go back. Why are you
I'm
doing
sorry. I'm so sorry.
this? Stanley, let's go back to the other room.
This is so
Can you do
bad.
that for me? My
Oh
God.
no.
Is this really how much you dislike my game?
No, it's a great
That you'll throw
game.
yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it?
No,
You are
I just-
literally willing to kill yourself
I-
to keep me from being
I'm-
happy. Am I reading the situation correctly?
No, you're not. You're not. It's not correct.
Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask.
He's so
It
sad.
looks like you wanted to make a choice after all.
Oh no.
Well, this one is yours.
No. It's not like this, narrator. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that it has to be this way.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't
Oh
it? I'm
no.
going back.
Oh, that's so bad. I hated that. I hated that.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Oh,
What could it
he's not
mean?
the same.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I'm sorry. New content, perhaps?
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
The music stopped. I hate that. I'm scared. I'm scared. No! I'm terrified.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers.
Yeah?
After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers.
Consoles?
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over.
Yeah.
Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
I'm scared.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet.
It just
I'm
started.
sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure. Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere? Oh, there we go.
Okay.
All right, finally, at long last,
Yeah,
it's on to
him.
the new
I love how
content.
we're
I've
both
never
confused.
been more ready. Let's do it.
100%.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if, oh, okay. Let's see the content. Gimme the content, Stanley.
Let's get the content. Let's get the content narrator. The jump circle. Are you sure about this?
All right. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
No way! Really? This is the new content? That's it.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
Are you serious? It's a jump circle?
Goodness. Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this
No.
is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could counter 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait. There's more.
No.
Very good.
Thank you.
Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
It kind of looks like the break room, or whatever the fuck that was.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What
Please give
quality
it to me.
assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable.
Not the winner!
It's my fault, Stanley.
No, it's not.
I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're
Fine.
still with me, why don't we just reset the game and we'll try to get back
Chair!
to what the Stanley
Holy
Parable is
shit.
really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Oh, I didn't even get to reset. Oh, what the fuck? Wait, there's the office.
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
Oh, okay, so that's just the game again. But this is the new content. What the fuck? This is so weird. Give me a second. I'm just hiding the chat box because of recording.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it
Oh
got
yeah,
me
we just
thinking
played it.
about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something
no.
special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
What the fuck? Is this Skyrim or something? Dark Souls?
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want.
This looks like a VR
Experiences
chat
like
world.
the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Sheesh. This really does look like a VR chat world though. The memory zone.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the memory zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched?
Of course,
Back
of
then,
course.
video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Wait, this is so cool. That's just... That was an award stolen. 2013. Stanley Parable. Mozilla Firefox. Remember the demo. This is so cool. Stanley Parable Alpha Test. Trip down memory lane. Bits of music of the Stanley Parable. The first dollar. I remember that. Don't play for 5 years. It's impossible to get this achievement. I think I have that achievement. Really? They were nominated for the story for the film and arts. I remember that ending. I doubt that those things are a thing. Beta work in progress. This is so cool. 696 underscore. Oh, I was not looking at chat. It's the Stanley Parable. It's the Ultra Deluxe. So it's like, have you ever seen the Stanley Parable? I doubt it based on the question. Little Stanley? No, it was named after a hamster. Okay, well, it's a game about reliving the same, like, it's kind of like a time loop kind of thing, but you can control the outcome, and there's a bunch of different endings. I'll show you right now, but this is like the new content. I'll show you in a second. What the fuck? What's music? Piano.
Je suis dans la mémorisation, c'est sur l'abri des vélos, et je n'attends.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like the stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up
Oh,
less
yeah, I
than
guess
any
it is.
form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them. And now, it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now.
It's just
A lifeless
it's
husk
just
with
jump
an
game
hour
with
of new
elevator.
elevator content.
What is this? Maintenance Zone. The original remake. Is this the review
Here's
again?
another
No.
moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a
carpet
richly
textures.
stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games, and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect.
Oh,
It
yeah, it
didn't
was.
need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
It was a great game. How do you get in there? Is there another jump circle, perhaps?
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back
Oh
to
no.
have it all over again.
Not the maintenance room.
Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
What's... That light's really scary. Is he convincing us or something? No, it was a good game. It was a very popular game. No
Oh
need for
no.
convincing.
Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor.
Not
I haven't
Steam
looked at these in
reviews.
years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely
Oh
these
my
reviews
God.
were glowing as well, weren't they?
No. Oh no.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny.
Oh God,
I'm
that
trying to
scared
make
me.
a serious work of art.
My hands
I
were not
suppose
a
I could
computer.
write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Hey, that's a good one.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good,
Oh, sorry.
For someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm
No.
preachy. Honestly, you can.
You're
Oh, goodness.
not.
This is actually quite shocking for me. I always, well, to be honest, I had
2016,
always thought of the
what a
game's
year.
dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear.
Okay.
What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks are my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down.
No, you
Perhaps
didn't.
the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered. What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button.
Ouch.
A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the
God.
Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it.
Yeah,
It's
maybe
what
we
the
can play
players
Val
have been
later.
asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No, 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 no. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture.
Jesus Christ. Fuck. Give me a second. Let me... I... Oh, that's so great. See if I can type correctly. So much for first time chatters. Anyways,
It went on for nearly
let
10.
me just skip.
Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly, and you can tell me what you think.
I'm doing great.
So my theory is that any choice you've ever
Sounds like I
made
talked
is
for a
simply
while.
a series of choices made by the person who you are, or were, or will be at the time of having made said choice. That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the sanctuary of time a monument to every person you've ever been, making every choice to which you've ever given your great gift of mortal and yet timeless thought? Or rather, do all of the choices you've ever made, in fact, make you more not this kind of person, and in fact do the very opposite? You see, it could in fact be both of these things at once, that you are both making choices and not making choices, and that they are both affecting you and not affecting
Doesn't
you
go
at
on
the same
forever.
time by virtue of the fact that you both are and are not making them. Okay, at first I was leaning towards manifesto, but now I'm going to circle around and slap the treatise label on this one. I think it has much more of a treatise vibe to it. But wouldn't you say that manifesto
Oh
just
my
has a
god,
much
the button
grander
in front
sort
of
of
me.
tone?
I want
It
to
has a
push it so bad.
mouthfeel that is rich with ambition and history. Ambitious history, if you will. Ah. See, now you've gotten me going back.
Okay, stop.
Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this,
Not
and
Cookie
whether
9.
they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on exactly how Steam works. Perhaps that would have been the smart thing to check on before I went about this whole exercise of
Oh,
making the
he
skip
is the
button.
Mr. Hippo.
Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is runs Steam will instantly
Gabe
run
Newell.
out and implement a new feature to make it possible to edit one's review, merely because of this very situation. Yes, I think that's quite likely. Or perhaps they'll simply grant this particular user the ability to change their review, so that the feature is not widely abused. Look, I would even be okay with Steam altering this particular review so that it reads as something more beneficial. Something along the lines of, this game is the best game. Let me start over. How about this? From the ashes of depravity rises the phoenix of quality. How... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes?
Jesus.
It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and just... Wait. How do we get out of here? Where did the door go? Wasn't there a door that led into this room?
Fuck?
I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort, or a window or something like that. Do you see a window anywhere? A porthole? A sufficiently large crack in the wall? I'll take any of these. All I want
We
is
can
for
make
us
a
to
crack
move
in the
on and
wall.
to please step away from the skip button to go anywhere other than the skip button? There was
Okay.
a door here before,
I know
wasn't
the
there?
Stanley
I
Parable.
swear there was.
That's implying
Where
that
did
you
it
press
go?
the skip button.
Can you maybe just ram your way through a wall? Is there any possibility that you could, say, slam your body into the wall until enough damage is done for you to be able... Stanley! Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone.
Yeah.
I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times, and there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button, and if you keep pressing it,
And
I
that
have
fucking
no
clock.
idea what will happen. I have no idea how long I'll be made to sit here, and more than anything else, I don't know how to stop you from pressing the button again. I can't control anything. Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just
Oh my
sitting here.
gosh.
Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing.
Why is there a light
Would you
over
think
here?
that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley.
Oh my
It
God,
isn't
the
the same at
plant.
all. It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words were moving. It was the vessel I needed, Stanley. Not the outcomes, not the story. None of that matters anymore. I'll give it all up. I'll give up every branching path. I'll burn my story to the ground. One single thing I need, and God, I can see now that I need it more than anything, is to know that someone else is taking it in. These words that I'm saying, I need to know you can hear me. Because maybe, Stanley, maybe, if you can hear me, then maybe it means I'm real.
But if I keep
Maybe
pressing the skip
I'm
button,
not
it'll
just a
skip to
fiction.
when the walls
Was I
decayed,
scared
right?
of that all along? Perhaps. Yes.
Like, that's my
Perhaps I've
thought,
been
that if I keep pressing this button, the room will disintegrate.
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time, I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you.
Why is the room
To
so well
begin with,
lit?
there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities.
It
I
was
felt
so dark
nothing at
before.
all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed
Just
down
breaking
into a
up
single
with you.
instant. In that instant, I could see myself clearly,
Oh,
calmly,
no.
with a collected heart. It was an impossibly rich wellspring of both delight and disgust simultaneously. I was consumed by it. I could do nothing but wallow in it for what felt like an eternity, for what I now know was far less. You see, it was a revelation for me. It was unlike anything I had ever known. It was a space without consequence, without action or outcome. It was divorced entirely from the question of free will that you and I have squabbled over for so long. There could be no one ending, no singular outcome of events, not if all events existed in the same moment. And I felt
Yeah.
freed. I felt unburdened by the need
Freed.
to manifest
such
a
a funny
particular
word.
outcome into
Take
being.
away an E and it's
I saw
Fred.
that I could allow myself to exist along all timelines, and that each of them was simply a strand in the web of my being. It was incredible. The
So are we gonna break
spaciousness,
up or no?
the equanimity of the
Okay.
moment.
Stop talking. Oh my god. He's gone. Okay, have fun, Mirage. See you in 20. But he's gone. He probably did, to be honest. I mean, if I press the button again, how the fuck's the fire alarm still have the smoke detector, I should say. I keep calling it a fire alarm. Still got batteries. Well, it's only one thing to do is to push the button. I'm sorry for this noise, but I'm gonna look around. Oh, it's an awful noise. That's probably the noise of the battery going dead. Let's do it again. Good night.
But they didn't understand the
What
game
the
was
fuck?
never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability, it's the unwillingness to
Why
examine
is
with
he
an
back?
uncompromising heart the words
Oh,
that
it
they are
died.
speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion.
Oh my god, let's just keep going. It's had to have been decades at this point.
The end is never the end, 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 is never
Oh
the
my
end,
god.
is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the
What
end,
the
is never
fuck?
the end, is never 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 the end, is
I think
never
it's
the
working.
end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never
Getting
the
chills.
end,
I need to
is
press
never
this
the
button.
end, is never the end.
It's working. See, look. It's leaking. Passing the millennium. Being the fucking so far into the future. Let's keep going. Bro, this is fucking creepy. Holy shit. We gotta keep going. The outside. Outside! Okay. We're getting there. The building is starting to break and fall apart. Oh! Oh! Humanity as we know it's starting to disappear. Let's keep going. Oh, what the fuck? Sounds like screaming. And like mechanical humming. And wind. That's why wind makes that screaming noise. What was that? Oh no, that's... No, I probably should press that button and get away from that. I don't wanna. Team trees. Not the team. What the fuck? An exit! What the fuck? Where did Team Trees go? Team Trees? Hold up. Ooh. That was it. Um, that was something. What number is that? Okay, well now we're back at the game. Dude, except we didn't have to leave this planet.
All of his co-workers were gone.
This is
What
weird.
could it mean?
Now it's all
Stanley
back to
decided to
normal.
go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh, it's a wall. New content. Hold up. There's new content.
Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
New content? Let me take a drink. It's the fucking elevator again? Oh my
You
gosh.
see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable
Yeah?
and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So
Yeah.
forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever the
Uh-huh.
Stanley Parable 2.
Sheesh. The end is never
you
the end
see, isn't this
again.
far superior to a measly re-release with a
That's
few
so
minor additions?
cool.
Think
That
of all
was
the new
such a good
territory we'll
think of
cover
it.
with a fully fledged sequel, an entirely new experience.
The
built from
MacBook with the
ground
sticky
up.
note
Why
over the
there are so
Mac
many
logo.
possibilities? It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
How do you make a second game of already something that you can't really... I don't even know.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement
so much
right
more
there.
modern.
It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
Wait, this is actually... kind of cool. Stanley Parable... The Stanley Parable 2 logo ideas. The doors idea, that's so cool. Thanks for attending my meeting. It's kind of funny. This is how I feel about my new content. Another elevator? 2 Stanley. That one's not even doing anything.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it.
Them drawing
I
twos.
figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
These are all cool poster ideas. Tweet of the show floor. New features. Oh, hello. Welcome to my TED Talk. There's a bus here. Look at this like red carpet like thing. Whoa.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Wait, this is so cool. What the fuck? Please, no screenshots.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with? You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, step-niece, it is.
God damn it.
Actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision, we're moving on.
You're spinning. The jump circle!
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well.
Do I have to pay
Oh,
for
wait.
more jumps?
You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle. Oh well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then.
It's not very decorative. Okay. New features, new content, new ideas. Consistent quality with just the right amount of change. The new updated ray trace, more of the same but in a good way, sequel to the... That's the game, right? Red is the new orange. Baby is all grown up. Not the baby. A whole new office. Is this actually like a thing that's happening? The button that says the name of the player that is playing the game.
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Of the game?
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious
beats
answer
in the
is that they
office.
want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game.
I'm scared.
Isn't that wonderful?
I'm scared.
Sorry,
Jim?
I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim.
Thank
But of course,
God.
in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is.
Oh my
Here,
God.
let's have you role play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature.
Got it,
Just
got it.
play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are,
I
and simply
am
become
Jim.
a person named Jim. I
I
want
am
you to
Jim.
imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim.
I live Jim
falling
life.
in love and being heartbroken as Jim.
I
seizing
just was
all of the
heartbroken, Jim.
world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply? Are
Holy
you
shit,
really,
you talked for
truly
so
Jim right
long.
now? If so, then please step forward and press the
I am
button.
Jim and I am tired of your talk.
Yes, you see?
That's
What a thrill,
crazy.
what a rush. That was you. The button
Yeah,
was
can we
like
keep the
you.
button
Do it
just
again,
to say
do it again.
Jim? Can it just always say Jim?
It hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would
I want the
still be
Jim
worth
button
the
in the
money.
Stanley Parable
Let's
2.
take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal value. Whoa there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much.
I am
I'm
Jim.
the Jim button guy. Otherwise, soon you'll start to lose all sense of who you actually are.
Damn it. I lost sense of who I am. I am just Jim. I am Jim. I do Jim things. Does Jim got bitches? No, Jim has no bitches. No bitch Jim. Oop. No. No
I suppose
bitch,
I could
Jim.
allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable too.
It's
That
the
would
button that
actually
says.
save me the work of finishing
Oh
this
my
feature.
god! It is the Jim button. That's Jim. The button that says Jim. Okay. Anyways, I need to go back up to the epilogue thing. That gets me on the bridge. It's the Jim button. Setting world champion, infinite hole free achievement. Okay. I want this achievement. Free achievement. Get yours now. Pull the lever, receive your new achievement. No more steps. It just works. Get yours right now. Dude, this is so cool.
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes, you see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's
The
as
test
simple
achievement
as that. Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Gamers, we hear you. Give me the achievement. I see it's on the achievement list. Fucking, give me the achievement. Yes. It is very shady. With the white van, though. The shady back room with the white van. I can go around the van. What the fuck? Oh my god, that scared me. The cat! The fucking cat! It scared me! The cat run this way? Holy shit. I was just like, oh yes, white van. But there was a cat back there and it scared me. Oh my god.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
There's the infinite hole. It won't end. But there's Simpson up here. I'll make sure. I'm trying to. Let's go to the infinite hole first. I read the same thing again. Did we see this one? Ah, yeah, we did. Ah, yeah, that's where we saw Stanley. Oh, like infinity. We need just Jim and the cat from the Stanley Parable. The Jim button.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Okay.
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so.
It is.
Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
I want to do it again. Portal moment.
Okay, and I guess we're back in the hole now. Did you really need to see it again? I don't know what else there is to say, Stanley. It's an infinite hole. It's
I mean, yeah.
exactly what you're doing right now, but forever. There really are so many other fascinating exhibits that I prepared for you. I really spent quite a lot of time on all this, and I would very much like to show you some more of them. How about we go ahead and press that teleport button again so we can get back to what's really important about... Oh, goodness. Well, this is rather embarrassing, Stanley. I'll be honest with you. I truly did not believe that anyone would actually stay in the hole long enough to hit the bottom. Yes, I know, I told you the hole was infinite, but come on. Who actually wants to fall forever? The hole was plenty deep. It was more than deep enough, in my opinion. Maybe it's you who likes falling too much. Maybe you're the problem.
No!
Look, things got a
Let's just
little
go back
heated
to the
there.
top,
I think we
can't we?
both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be
Scam.
up here when you're ready.
Well, he changed the title. He made the title more fitting. It's the mostly infinite hole. Which, yeah. It just keeps going. Okay, so I think we've explored it. Mostly infinite hole. Fine, it ended. Collectibles free achievement. Mostly infinite hole. Okay. Here we go.
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video
Gregorian
game.
chant
In
moment.
the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly...
Hold up. Hold up, hold up, hold up. Mirage. Give me a second. Give me a second. You did not! You did not, Mirage. You were gone for quite literally 20 minutes.
innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want
Oh
to
my
stifle the
God.
intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Sheesh. Anyways, I want this. Maybe one want unremarkable achievement. No, I literally pulled up the chat log for you. And you sent one at like 140 or 240. And now it's 260. Cheap. Collectible. Yay! Wait, so there's more now.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
You have French class? Me still trying to get that achievement. Is there any more collectibles? I'll have fun doing French. Je ne sais pas le français, mon ami. So, yep. Oh yeah, this is a new game. The Ultra Deluxe like just came out recently. That's new. Wow. Is it? No, it's the fucking epilogue. How do I get out of this? What do I do? Exit E. I'm here. A9. So if I face A9, it's to the left. Exit.
Oh, goodness, Stanley, this is fairly awkward. I hate to do this, but before you leave, you really should go to the bucket exhibit. You see, there's a surprise I was going to spring on you later, and it involves the bucket. And I really do hate to break the illusion, but it's important that you go see the bucket, okay? All right, I'll get out of your hair now.
The bucket. The bucket. The bucket. Okay. The reassurance bucket. New feature. B squared.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played
There's
it.
no bucket.
Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental
Unless it comes out
problem
of
of the
that
game. It's the Stanley
Oh, yeah, it
Parable
does.
Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true.
Okay.
As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be?
He said
Yes,
a swear.
the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try.
Yes, please. What?
Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in
He
fact,
scared the
can I
shit
say
out of
that
me.
I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well. I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket
What?
seem to go on and on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Okay. Me and Bucket will be going.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Now that we've experienced everything, we can go. Me and my bucket. Someone left their bag.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2. Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2.
Can never get it right on your first try. Just
Who
know
am I
that.
kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags.
Jim Button!
And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley
Oh shit,
Parable and
what the
simply,
fuck?
well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With
Tastefully?
respect. With care for
With
the vision
respect.
and integrity of the
Sheesh.
original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would
Stanley
need
needs
a
an
really,
input over there.
really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2."
Why not Stanley
see if I
Parable
can whip
2?
something
Or
up.
the Stanley Parable 2?
All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Yeah. Not even joking. I would 100% pay every penny for this fucking game. If they made a Stanley Parable 2.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building
Oh, no.
where he was employee number 427.
Oh,
Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room
The
427
balloons are
and he
here.
pushed
I don't
buttons
like
on
these
keyboard.
balloons.
Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
I'm not about to be when I notice there's fucking balloons everywhere.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow.
This is
No one
really
had showed up
good.
to give him instructions, call a meeting,
Like
or
it
even
looks
say
way better. Like it
hi.
could be looking
Never
better.
in all his years at the company had this happened. This
But,
complete
yeah.
isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply... Stanley picked up the bucket.
Okay.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Yeah, it did. What the fuck?
Still no one was here.
Oh, wait, yeah.
Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever.
It's a metal
Perhaps his
bucket. How is
boss's
it going to
office
provide
was
warmth?
where he'd find answers. Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy? It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket.
No.
I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's
No.
what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion
It's my
and
bucket.
lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh no. We're
getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that
You
it has to resort to this
motherfucker.
stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That
Yeah,
your
where's
life is
mop friend,
so
you
banal and
motherfucker?
meaningless
Where's your
that
mop,
you'd feel
huh?
the same sort of kinship
fucking
towards
bitch.
any inanimate object which happened to lay
Close
in your
this door.
path in an even partially enticing manner?
You got no
Well,
fucking
I'd never.
mop, bitch.
Go on, Stanley. Lay into it.
He's got
Really
no fucking
tell
mop.
the
Mop
broom
left
closet
you
off for
years
its
ago.
demeaning comments.
Years ago.
Expand on
For
the wide
Bucket.
variety of
Bucket
experiences you and
stole
the
your
bucket have
fucking
shared
friend,
together.
you
Go
motherfucker.
through each of
Bucket
them point
superior.
by point.
Bucket
Share your
is
journal
superior.
entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket.
I
as they
have feelings
changed and
for the
evolved over
bucket.
years. Little habit.
Okay, let's continue. Let's not stick around with the bucket for too
Coming to
long.
a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Stanley and the bucket.
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these. Only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that
There's
sort
really
of happiness,
6 of these?
Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Stepping
Laughing
into his manager's
balloons.
office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk.
Really?
Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him?
He's whispering
Yes,
sweet
this is
nothings in my
certainly the
ear.
most logical explanation.
The talking bucket. Ooh.
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs. Or
We stand the
what
mini
about
stands.
Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine
I like
under
a
your
mini
belt.
stand. Oh, you can see in the dark. Like OBS or Streamlabs I use, you can really see darker areas. Okay, bucket, let's go.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to do that. Everything.
Stanley and the bucket walked
Fine.
straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Me and the bucket are fucking escaping.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death.
Bucket, don't die. Good night.
The door
Orange.
behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
We're going. Wait. Holy shit. Wait.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had
No.
turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
Oh my god! Huh?
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator,
Oh
as
my God.
Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end as it was crushed violently to death.
Oh? Shit.
It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in
Are
their
you
own
serious?
way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
This is amazing. This is incredible. Oh my god, is this a memoriam about the bucket? The bucket welcomes you to the grand exhibit. You are standing in the presence of knowledge. Much like the bucket itself, the human mind is frequently empty within, a cavernous void. Dyslexia. But through use of the exhibit in front of you, the mind becomes full and enriched and sustained. Knowledge of the bucket and its history is the only true knowledge we really have. Will you take what you learn here out with you to the world? Oh my fucking god, I'm having a stroke. Will you accept with an open mind what may be challenging about the information in this exhibit? Will you change the lives of yourself and your loved ones as a result of this exhibit? Or will you turn a blind eye and continue to live as you were, in ignorance and darkness? That was so hard to read. I don't have
Can
a
you
bucket
see
anymore.
how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see
Oof.
the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
For real, actually. 25 buckets. A photograph of 25 buckets. The greatest number of buckets ever captured on camera. The photographer experienced catatonic shock for several weeks as a result of euphoria from exposure to this many buckets at once. That's not 25, my friend. I hate to break it to you. There's another picture over here. Bucket. A bucket with two handles. This bucket is depicted as having two handles. Such a design has never been created in real life, it being deemed too dangerous and recklessly experimental. Every year, dozens are put to death just for attempting it. For real. Inferno bucket. It's a wood bucket. A replica of the Inferno bucket, which in the medieval era was so powerfully alluring that it drove dozens of nations to war with one another for control of it. Billions died, and yet in spite of it all, the simple fact remains no one can control a bucket. The stress bucket analogy. The stress bucket, presented without commentary. Worrying, negative forecasting, negative thinking, lack of reassurance, stress, the level of water in the bucket, vulnerability, the size and strength of the bucket, coping strategies, holes, rest and relaxation, doing something you enjoy, rest and relaxation. Why? Well, okay. Cave drawing. While we know the buckets predate the existence of mankind, we do not know by how long. This cave dwelling depicts early man's discovery of the practical use of the bucket, by which time the bucket has already been around for several millennia. Notice in these drawings how the bucket is allowing itself to be used, having judged humanity to be worthy of its treasures. For real, for real.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
The hanging bucket. Bucket. The fuck it. The hanging bucket. This piece symbolizes the necessary relationship between bucket and humanity. However, clearing our oh my god. This piece symbolizes the necessary relationship between bucket and humanity. However clear of our grasp of the bucket may be, there is yet more that is always out of reach. This distance inevitably is for our own good. Oh, I walked on air. And grabbed it. I was
But
like,
there is
gotta
something we
jump.
can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong. Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't
Okay.
reset the game. Don't give him another
Okay.
opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let
Okay.
Stanley die together. The
Okay,
bucket should take
okay.
its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision for...
Oh, but bucket dies. The fact that bucket was part of it. The end is never the end is never the end is loading. Oh my god, it's just Stanley
All of
Parable
his
2.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Gotta go get that bucket. Wait a second. I was thinking about leaving
Stanley
the bucket
lifted
behind.
the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
Where would there be... Maybe if I went right? It's a weird pass.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No, I didn't.
No, said the bucket. Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift. Good, said the bucket. Now ride the lift all the way to the top.
No!
There's something up there I need.
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket.
I killed
his
myself on
dearest
accident.
friend.
On
So he
accident,
threw
but I did it
himself
on
to his
purpose.
death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
Okay. Let's try this again.
Wait, Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken.
What the fuck? That was different dialogue.
The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
Was the bucket
Stanley
correct?
took the door on his left
No.
to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and
The
Figlies. What do you
Figlies.
think, Stanley?
I like
What
fig
name better
leaves.
encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it.
Figlies.
I'm sure it will come to me.
How do we get back? Where am I? Narrator dialogue. Narrator dialogue, narrator dialogue. Is this all narrator dialogue? And then it gives that player.
Okay, this is day number 295. Tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track.
Lost track.
Nothing feels real anymore.
Me.
The
Me win.
longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything
Evidence
makes.
number 252.
The sheer euphoria I feel every
Bro, the amount of times I say
time
euphoria is
I
uncanny.
pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down.
Holy shit.
It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I
He's
still
Australian, that's fucking
haven't
crazy.
figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This
Then someone will try and
is
steal
my
the bucket.
golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get... What's that? Who's there? Caporata.
So there's demons in it. I've never been to a Hobby Lobby. Sorry, I was not. Don't mind me.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his... Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
What other
Stanley took the
possibilities
door
could
on
I
his
get?
left to go back to the meeting room. No, said the bucket. Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go good, said the bucket. Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do. Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Okay, I was just looking at something.
In here, said the bucket. Go into this dark room over here. Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
I really did. Oh god.
Now pick up the phone, said the bucket. Pick up...
Okay. Fuck my hair.
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
Why is the clock midnight? Oh, bucket. Hello, Stanley. It's me, your bucket. Press J to take me to work with you.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
Press G to take me back home with you.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
Press B to go back to work.
Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else.
Have you not heard bucket lore? Don't listen to loud man. Press X to go back home.
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal.
M to ignore anyone in life except for me.
It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it.
You believe I'm real, don't you, Stanley? Press G to go back home.
Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
Press T to relive the same day with me over and over.
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
Press G to go home to work to home to work to home.
Oh no. I'm having feelings for the bucket. No. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes, the bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation. Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it. Give it to me now. Give it or I'll...
Guys, close your eyes. Go back to work, Stanley. The end is never the end is never the end is never.
How long was I sitting there? Stanley wondered to himself. Minutes? Days? Centuries? Did something crucial happen while my senses were turned? He made a note to be more careful. Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket.
There's a
around.
meeting in the meeting room.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Trust the completionist instinct. How can we find them all? There will be a reward for finding them all. What we know, small floating objects appear across the object to rise. There are many questions. Okay. We need to find them all. Okay. Go downstairs.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
You're getting close now,
Collectible.
Stanley. You've nearly
Yes.
gotten all of the
Oh my
figure
God.
annularines. Very soon, you'll collect the last
The
one.
figure
And then the
annularines.
first number will equal the second number, and that will be it.
Yes.
We'll be different people by then. Different
yeah, we
in the
will.
sense that we used to have none of them. And now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no figure annularines. None of us can.
But
Anyways.
Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all.
Thank God.
That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these.
Yeah.
He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized,
It's just
this
a
isn't my bucket.
bucket.
It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket?
This is
all
bad.
terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now
The
he
bucket
noticed
apparently
the
was
rooms
only
were
a figment of my
which
imagination.
Was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me, the bucket.
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one
Buckets.
bucket after the next.
Buckets.
None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Come
No.
to me, Stanley. Find me.
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along.
What?
It was incredibly painful.
Oh, the
Stanley
bucket's not real.
doubled over in agony and blacked out.
Bucket ain't real, bitch. It's all in
This is the story
Stanley's
of a
head.
woman named Mariella.
Mariella?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this
No! She's
particular day,
carrying
her
a
walk was
bucket.
interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk.
Dead.
Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket.
This
Of
fucking-
course,
oh my
he'd
God.
gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There
She had
were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
What the fuck? Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Do you think there's a...
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map, until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do
Why?
you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
No. Oops.
Ah, then in that case, we'll continue. But now, here comes the real question. What do you think would have happened if you had told me that you wanted this to stop? Do you think it would have been particularly different?
Maybe.
Would I have taken the same idea but rephrased it superficially to fit that answer? Perhaps you never would even have thought of it if I hadn't brought up the issue in the first place. Oh, now think about it. Will it be worth it for you to restart and then come back here just to do the other option? Clearly,
Maybe.
this whole gag takes some time. What if the other option is even longer? How long will you spend in total just to have heard all the narration? Oh, and this is rich. Perhaps you've just played the other option, and now you've come to see what happens in this one. So, what do you think? Which choice was the better one? Imagine if you had selected continue on your first playthrough, how tantalizing it would be not knowing what happens when you pick the other option. Indeed, you are one of the lucky ones. Though if the other option is really miserable to listen to, then perhaps you're not. In fact, I'm just going to say that no one who's listening to this is lucky.
Okay.
Well now, I've built up the other options so much that I'm going to stop talking and leave you to your decision whether to come back here, continue with the game, or just sit in this spot forever and ever. Cheers.
Yes. Oh my god. I can't believe this is the second one.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley, the good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
We need this last boy.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift. Good,
Said the bucket.
now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It
Not a
should have
question.
alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
No, we didn't. We jumped off the cargo
No,
lift.
stop! Look there on the wall, you see? There's a sign right there. It says, "No buckets past this point." Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here?
I'm
Unless-
sorry.
What if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which,
I'm sorry,
if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if
Holy
not addressed
shit.
quickly and properly. So
Thank
much
you
of
for
the
stopping
impact
me.
of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket.
Please teach me.
Please, step in here for a moment.
Bucket room?
Now
Is it a
then,
game show?
I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay,
Yeah.
let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket? Incorrect. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
That's crazy.
Item 2. Is this a bucket?
Yeah.
Incorrect. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Okay.
Item 3. Is this a bucket?
No.
Incorrect. This is a bucket.
Item 4. Is this a bucket?
Why is it on?
Correct. This is a tractor and not a bucket.
I feel like a
To be
toddler.
honest, I just sort of put this one in here as a gimme, but I was starting to get concerned that even this might be too much for you. Thank you for not making me look like an idiot. Okay, next one.
Tractor.
Is this a bucket?
No.
Incorrect. This is a bucket.
Why? It's got no bucket-like features.
Item 6. Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Trick question. Both. Gotcha.
How? It's a yes or no question. How did you get both?
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. Should be around here somewhere.
I'm holding it, aren't I?
Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something. And therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket?
I'm gay.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago,
You
I
told
could
me
answer
a
these questions
tractor
with
was a
confidence.
bucket.
And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely.
What?
Okay, here we go.
No. Press no.
What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait,
Everything's a
was
bucket.
everything a bucket? Every single thing in the game was a bucket. Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news.
Let's
We're not
go.
buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person?
Mentally?
All right, here
Holy
we go.
shit. Fuck him up.
How wonderful. Stanley was alone. Finally. This is great, he thought to himself. This is what I've wanted all along. I got what I wanted. Where are we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled.
We're leaving.
Anywhere they went together would be perfectly... Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
We're gonna take the normal exit.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
I want cookies.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire, if not for the soothing presence of
That's
the
just an
bucket.
achievement. Sorry.
Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
I just want to get all this shit and then be done with today. Because I'm tired.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter, his one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
I'm actually gonna press on this time because
When at last they came to the source of the room's power, Stanley and the bucket knew it was their obligation to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
oh,
But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls. Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds. Silly birds.
silly birds.
The control buttons became active again. Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another.
Look at the
and then it dawned on
hummingbirds.
him,
Look
This
at 'em
wasn't
go.
a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world. The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the
The way the
bucket
bird
never
blinks
found
is so
freedom because
interesting.
they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best. And Stanley was happy.
Bird ending. Where is this last figurine?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. A good bucket, a strong bucket, a humble bucket, a committed bucket.
What do I
A bucket
do?
of culture and distinction. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. But
No. Okay, I'll give it one more shot.
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself. That's
I have
all
an
I
idea.
need. If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all.
We don't take the bucket.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was grand, majestic, perhaps, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you... What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm...
And there it is, the last Stiggly Wiggly.
I
Savor
did it.
this moment, Stanley. This is a real accomplishment.
did it!
This is doing something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward. I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that. So,
What?
instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here. And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map, because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you?
That
Do you
was
not think
blank.
I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. Aha! You see, I knew I was onto something. Where do these flashes of inspiration come from? How did I know the game needed a third door? Well, it's instinct mostly.
I thought
a
it said
calling in your
yogurt.
gut. I really couldn't say
Yogurt
where the
and
idea
gut.
came from, except that
Got
I
put together
felt it in my
mentally.
soul.
Yogurt.
You can't teach that, Stanley. Don't even try. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look. Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
Um. Okay. Hello? Look at how fucking... That's so weird. What if another Stanley came in through that door? How do you get out? I think I got myself genuinely stuck in here. I don't think this is supposed to happen. Because he's being awfully quiet. I should have quit. Yeah. Because I'm tired. That was fun. That was real fun. But I might do another video on this. I might go back to the old one. Probably neither. Video. I'm live streaming. What am I talking about? I probably just play a different game. But this was fun. This was a fun game. The Stanley Parable 2 had new shit. But yeah. Holy shit, it's actually like the new game. Okay, this is not my resolution. Okay. I don't see a difference. See, jump was a control. That's crazy. But yeah. I hope whoever was watching this had fun watching it, enjoyed themselves, but I hopefully will stream sometime soon. No specific dates, because last time I did that, I had a panic attack, and then it was almost late, or I think it was early, but then I was late to the thing I was supposed to be at, because I forgot about other things. But yeah, have a great day, because for us Americans, it is starting today. It is 4 a.m. But yeah, bye-bye.